Welcome to the OneLife podcast, episode 3 for us here with our 4 directors again. Our first topic today is hustle culture. What does it mean? What does it mean to us? What does it mean to business owners? What does it mean to people who are in New Zealand, maybe abroad? Why don't we start with you, Justin? What does hustle culture mean?
Well, hustle culture to me means just working long hours. You're trying to make an extra buck. You know, you're probably not too concerned about your well-being, you know, your real hustle mentality with getting stuff done. That's what it sort of means to me, you know, and that person's just trying to work extra hours, get a bit more money for their family, and just go the extra mile. So that's what it sort of means to me, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I love hustling, and I think I link it back to why I hustle. And like you mentioned, it's about my family. And I'm a futuristic person. Keep referring back to this Gallup strength finder stuff that we do, but futuristic's one of my top things. So hustling for the future is kind of why I get out of bed every day. And yeah, I like hustling for myself, hustling for the customers, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting topic.
Yeah, I feel there's two ways, right? It can be misinterpreted. Back in the 90s, hustling's like when your hip hop era, it's like, oh, I'm a hustler, I'm gonna hustle your money, I'm gonna take your money off you. So it's a very negative word back in the 90s. But nowadays, with social media and TikTok and promoting entrepreneurship, these hustlers mean someone who work hard, people with passion, right? People who have worked longer hours than other people to achieve a better goal for their family or for themselves. So I really like this new hustle definition in the 21st century.
Did you say you like the new definition?
Yeah, it's less dirty than what it used to be. You know, your hustler means it's a positive thing, right? Oh, thanks, man. You know, I hustle every day. But it can be a double-edged sword because some people hustle too much. And what does it mean for their family and relationship? We can talk more on that as well.
So I think that's probably the sentiment that's probably going around globally at the moment is there's a rebellion towards the hustle culture across the world, that they're saying hustle culture is dead. And maybe for business owners, that is not what should be done. Maybe
explain when you say dead, what does that mean? So they're saying there's no more hustling.
Cancelling hustle culture.
Yeah, cancelling hustle culture, as in like hustle culture is like bad for mental health and all that sort of stuff, right? So mental health, well-being and everything is right at the forefront of everybody's minds.
Yeah. And
the hustle culture is impacting that. And here we are, 4 dudes that probably believe in hustle culture. Are we ignoring the negatives?
I suppose, but hustle means something different to everybody.
Yeah,
like you could hustle fast, you could hustle slow, you could just hustle on 10 projects, you could hustle on 1, like as long as you're, and it's just a word, right? You could just be like, it could just be like whatever word that motivates you is kind of all it is, right? So you can change hustle to doing something. I'm just going to do this thing. Or I'm going to do 10 things.
From a business perspective, if someone's young, they've just set up their own business, they're probably more likely to be that hustler, because they're new in the game, they've got a lot of energy. Whereas like if it's an older generation, they've been in business for a very long time, that they probably don't have that same hustle as like a new business that's just been
just called it hard work.
They're probably still hustling now.
There's probably hustling.
Totally. So maybe in the older generations, that's what it was. You just did bloody hard work.
You just did bloody hard work.
I think Alistair nailed it, right? Like it was, it's just a buzzword type thing that someone would go, hard work.
The younger yappies used to call it hustling, but it's just working hard, which the new generation can sometimes forget, or people always say, the boomers think the Gen Zs don't work hard, but is that really true? Some of them actually do work
different
hard.
Yeah.
Right? It's a different hard.
Yeah.
Ultimately, everyone's got a choice. Whether you're an employee or a business owner or running a side hustle, and if you're hustling or not hustling, that's okay. You can pick, but it's because it's your choice.
Yeah, and I think for the older generation as well, if they've been running their business for their entire lives, sometimes it's hard for them to stop because they think if they stop, they die.
Yeah.
So I think they will continue to work and hustle, if you like, until they die, because there's that fear that if they give up their work, that'll be it.
Well, that's what everyone tells you, right? Oh, my dad slowed down and then he was gone in 3 years. Like, shit, really?
Yeah. So maybe there is an element of truth to it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I think like if you talk to your customers, any one of them, small, medium customer, they all got some sort of hustle. Like you have to, like it's kind of how you got into business, and if you don't have an element of hustle or hard work, then you're going to struggle. Like if someone comes to me and said, I have this great idea, and they don't have hustle, in my definition of hustle, then I'll kind of go, I think you're better off in employment, because like this, it's a different hustle, right? You still got to go to work. You go to 8 to 5, or you might do a few flexi hours here and there, whatever. But I think business resilience is different. I don't know if you guys agree, but like we're on all the time. Every single one of our customers is on all the time, thinking about themselves, thinking about their customers, thinking about their bank account, thinking about all the hats they have to wear and take off. Like, I think that, they're different. Employment and business is different. And so like, that would be my advice to anyone wanting to start a business is you need to be ready to hustle.
And totally. And like different stages of business as well. You know, you can go through time in business like the start, middle, end, right? And during that middle stage, you might just have lost your mojo for a bit.
Yeah.
So that's where we can come in at BetterCo and give them a bit of a rocket to give them a push to the next stage of their business, right?
It's like cricket. It's like one-day cricket. You know, the first 15 overs are all fun. In between 15
you could have
overs
power
and
play,
40.
power play
It's
podcast,
like, I need a cricket analogy in there somewhere. But if you know what I mean, it's like for business owners, the startup phase is really fun. It's really sexy. Talk about sexy. And
scary.
Yeah, it's scary. So you like have to hustle, otherwise
you've got the adrenaline going.
Adrenaline's going. And then it gets a bit easier, gets a bit more predictable, and then maybe it gets stale. And maybe your hustle is not there, or maybe you're not bringing that same passion. And maybe the older generation will say, well, you don't have the work ethic anymore or something, or you're not working hard enough, or you're working 40 hours. What do you mean 40 hours? You're supposed to be working 60 hours. You know, like maybe there's that, and then you go, okay, well, what happens if I do 60 hours? But guess what? It's one life, and you only get one life. And if you don't have 60 hours to put in, and then you go and do it, what are you failing at home with your kids, with your somewhere else? Like,
the interesting thing is, like, if you take a client and you sit in the boardroom and you start to take them through the business journey, you'll find that there's hustle all the time, but there's like peaks and downs. So like if you go, you go up, and I always explain it like this, you go up and then you hit a tipping point and then you go back down. And that's basically where you're at the peak of your hustle. Actually, you're hustling harder on the way down because your cash is burning. You have to hire a manager or something like that, and then you got to go back up. So it's not constant up. It's up, down, up, down, up, down. So you're always kind of at it.
They call it the rule of thirds, right? So whenever you have a shit day or you're feeling burnt out, just remember this is a third of your feeling. A third of the time you feel amazing, you're fired up, ready to go. A third of the time it's just normal, balance, normal day. A third of the time is freaking shit. Right. So sometimes people get burnt out, and you got to ask yourself, look, this is just a normal feeling. It's just a little wave going through. So if you're losing that hustle, just remember, you're just going through the other wave. The hustle's going to come sooner or later.
Is the hustle coming from a necessity in this day and age, though? Are people having to hustle because they need more money to actually survive? Whether it's a small business or a
tougher
person.
world right now, I'd say. You need bloody 3 degrees and PhDs, and you still can't get a job.
Well, this is where I think these guys like Gary Vee that are trying to cancel hustle culture are going to almost get found out a little bit about that sentiment. It's like,
why is he trying to cancel it?
Well, because of mental health, and he thinks there's smarter ways to do things, and which is kind of crazy from him because he's a guy who doesn't really sleep, and he believes in like, working hard is all for me. So it's like you saying, he's hustling, like ultimate hustler.
But he doesn't believe in it.
He's a multi-millionaire, probably billionaire at some point, and he still goes into a garage sale and sells cards and collects cards and stuff. It's like, how can you, as someone who works hard, go to somebody else and say, "Hey, don't hustle"?
Yeah, and I think the young generation, they have the energy and they can hustle for a period of time, but there's going to come a time where they need to actually take a look at themselves and say, look, what have I been doing, and have I been looking after myself during that period of time? And I see some young entrepreneurs that are really going well, but they haven't got a family yet, you know, so they've got the time and the energy to actually put into their business, which is great, but there will come a time where they'll need to change that.
Yeah, I think the best thing we did when we started businesses and we were hustling, and obviously like getting that mentorship under you and a bit of accountability from someone independent, and get like that. We had a mentor and he was amazing. Like we would hustle, but he would always kind of make sure that we're hustling in the right spaces and doing the right things at the right time.
Not so much just chasing the new shiny thing.
No, that's right. Yeah. And so you need that expertise and experience, I think, if you're going to be able to want to hustle, do it properly. Like don't hustle or get burnout and lose your family and have no money. Like you get some experience in your team, And I wouldn't say that lightly. Like if I had to start again, I'd definitely just build the team of mentors and advisors and coaches straight away.
Have those people around you.
Yeah, and then go hustle, because then you're hustling right.
Yeah.
And like the biggest advice I'd give to someone is, well, exactly that, hustle right, but like just don't burn yourself out, because it's not going to always be that way. You know, like it's just impossible to.
Yeah.
Be
But
at
we've
your
seen
peak
it
at
all, right?
time.
We'll deal with so many clients and customers. Some people hustle so hard, the family falls apart. Like,
Yeah.
is it really worth it? You know, we always come back to this thing called OneLife,
One Life.
right? And we talk about it. You know, you're taking 70 hours into your work. You're taking it out of somewhere, which is your family life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When are they
Personal
spending time
relationship.
with their family?
Mm.
When are they being active? When are they going for runs?
Mm.
You know, when are they keeping fit? You know, when are they having some slack time, some time out and reading and developing?
Mm.
You know,
It's not just family too. Like I think that a lot of people don't spend enough time with their friends. Like that is actually the place you go to have slack, not talk about work, not talk about family. Maybe you do, and maybe when you are, you're having a conversation that's slightly different, right? So you've got to have this whole one life and fit it all in. And hustle culture, to me, like I actually hustle to fit it all in. If you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
I'm
I
hustling to put that bit in.
Yeah, I think you call it juggling, right? You said it in the last
Yeah.
second podcast, or first one of them, and
Yes.
it was, mate, you're juggling. Like
Mm.
you're naturally juggling with kids and whatnot, but again, it's just a different word for hustle.
Oh, it's a massive life change when you have your first child, right?
Yeah.
You're yet to find out, Alistair,
we'll
come
do,
that
mate.
glorious day, mate. But you know, as soon as you have that first child, the business just takes a back seat for a period of time.
Mm.
You know, you don't want it to, but it just naturally happens
Yeah.
because you've got this other human that you're trying to look after now.
Yeah, and I think my advice on that would be just to prepare for that. Like you can't
Mm.
plan the baby thing, of course, but like if it's in the future plan, then get your business right, and if whenever it happens, Obviously, that's a great thing, like you said, it's a glorious thing. But if you can get the people in the right places before it happens, and your
Totally.
cash flow up,
Get those
bank
people
balance
around
well,
you.
yeah,
It's a good test.
Then going through something like the slowdown, you like as a hustler, I call myself a hustler, right? It wouldn't bother me to be like, oh, yeah, I've done the hustling already, and now I can just chill and be there for my kids a little bit. You know, it's like I think business owners should take that approach.
I had multiple clients in the last 3 years who have had their first kid and taken 2 to 3 months off in a row once the kid was born. And if you talk about hustle culture, that is not hustle culture,
No.
right? But guess what they were doing before that? Hustling.
Mm.
Or working really hard, or have been doing it for 5 years, 10 years. And they're
right.
hustling for a long time to get themselves to a point where they can take 3 months off.
Totally.
So I think we can say that in this room, we all agree that hustle culture just means hard work, a bit of grit, a bit of juggling, fitting it all in. And it's probably necessary.
Yeah, it is.
If you want to run a
but
business.
do you have any examples of clients that you act for where you know that they're working too much, way too much, and there's actually things that we can do at BetterCo to help them relieve that pressure from that time?
The one telltale sign of that thing is, mate, I haven't looked at my email for a whole week. I'm drowning. You know?
Yeah, it's funny when you send out we need to do your set of accounts, and they can't respond to the information that we require to do the accounts. You know, it's low priority.
That means you have no slack time at all.
There's no time.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable.
No. And look, I've got a few clients that are in that boat, and I just make sure that I reach out to them. You know, whenever I can, and use Tom from the team. He'll reach out, you know, and just say, you just need to check in with these guys because I know that they're being swamped and they're really under pressure.
Yeah.
So just having someone reach out helps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, having some empathy helps as well. It's not just, oh, the guy's so useless, he didn't get back to me in 2 days.
Oh, totally.
There's a reason for it, right?
Sometimes you don't know what
You
the
don't know.
reason
Yeah,
is.
imagine you're a tradie, you're working on the tools all day, you're managing projects, and your bloody accountant sends you a bloody email at 5 p.m. at night, and you say, mate, you didn't get back to me in 2 days. I'm knackered, I got to go second day.
Yeah.
So you got to put yourself in their shoes, and that's what we do really well at BetterCo, I'd say.
Yeah,
totally.
We understand where it's come from, we understand the hustle, you know?
Oh, they'd love to hear from us, surely.
Yeah, I actually have a rule. Like, we talk about habit stacking, I think, first episode, and like my habit is jump in the car, make a phone call. Drives me mad at the moment because the connectivity is not very good in my car, but like get in, make the phone call, and it's just one thing that you can do. I think we did it in lockdown. It was a Friday. We used to knock off, and we just all of us jump on the phone and reach out.
We did that with the whole team.
Yeah,
the whole team had to reach out to a client or two or three clients. Remember?
I think it was such an amazing thing that we did. I wish we could do it some more. But
Project People or something. Yeah,
That's
there's Project People.
Yeah,
we should bring
that
named
back.
it.
Bring it back.
But like a lot of people were quite overwhelmed with the phone call during that time. And I think it's just little things like that, like, give them motivation to hustle some more. And it was a hard time for everyone. So
I think it's just when you're in business and anyone who's thinking of going into business, you just got to know that actually not that many people are going to pat you on the back. So if you're hustling, just know that and pat yourself on the back every now and then. Book a holiday 3 months in advance and say, okay, I'm going to hustle and I'm hustling towards this, and then I'm going to take a break, because breaks are really important. But hitting goals and then not celebrating them or pausing and taking stock is quite dangerous, and you can overwork, you can burn out, you can do all those things. So hustle, but celebrate successes. Don't move the goalpost if you create a goal, and once you score the try,
and surround yourself with people that you can celebrate with.
That's right.
Do it
Otherwise,
together.
what's the bloody point, right?
Don't do it alone. Do it with somebody.
Totally. Even if it is just, as you said before, a mentor.
Yeah.
If you're working by yourself, you're a sole trader, or or a consultant or whatever, reach out to a mentor or to us.
Yeah. Have some fun along the way, and then celebrate.
Like, you don't, if they don't want to see us, there's free resources out there. You can go to the Chamber of Commerce and you get a free mentor. And I think that's how I met Blair James, actually. That's how I met Blair, and we're looking for a mentor, and that's how we connected. So
cool.
You can actually make pretty good connections through that.
So talking about hustle culture, and we obviously believe in it. Now I know that we probably are here to almost promote it. If I'm thinking about it now, is we're going through cost of living crisis, inflation, interest rates. I know where my interest rates are going. I know where our repayments are going. Talking on the weekend with some people, with each other, and one of the comments across the table with one of the boys was, "I don't know how you're making it work, mate, because this is my repayment. I don't know how you're making it work." So we've come a time, I think, where people who have maybe just been chilling or doing whatnot, it's time to hustle.
I think it's also time to do and get some advice around, like, literally I spend the morning building out my cash flow for the next 36 months, And
Shoot, that's impressive, mate.
yeah, I love it. I'll show you the spreadsheet. It's bloody brilliant.
Is it my spreadsheet?
No, it's not. I built it myself. And try to claim my sheet. I'm happy to share if anybody needs it, by the way. But I think that was an eye-opener for me, because then Eric rings me up, like, "Oh, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Just doing cash flow." Is that all you do? Yeah, for ourselves at the moment. I did the cash flow. Worked out, actually. Like, Aria's going to school. Might have paid off a car, might have freed up a bit of cash flow, and all of a sudden, actually, the picture's not that bad. But if you don't look too far ahead, how are you going to know? So actually, all we got to get through is the next 6 months. And once she goes to school, I get another $1,000 a month, sort of thing.
Pay rise.
Yeah, it's instant. But that's what you do with that money that is important, right? So
because it's very easy to piss it away.
If you haven't had a kid, and it's the same thing with having a shift, the minute you get, like, when you went to school, you get instant pay rise. You can't go and change your lifestyle. Not now. Not where the cost of living it is where it is. You have to go and invest that money. Would be the smartest thing to do, so you can live a better life later.
Well, the first thing to do, and I've done this recently as well, is just to, you do it for the banks. You have to show your last 3 months bank statements and what you spend your money on. So I've done that with our household as well. It's frightening. I'm going to be honest, because you see areas that you spend money on and it's scary. But it gives you a line in the sand, and then you go, okay, what am I spending? What can I cut back on? And it's quite easy because you can see it in black and white, right? Yeah. But until you actually go back and do that, you don't know what you're spending your money on half the time. Yeah. Like, your average Kiwi probably doesn't know what they're spending their money on. So to get into a habit of going back and checking that, is so important.
And I think this is where OneLife comes in, right? Lots of business owners think, I got to do a forecast and whatnot for my business or cash flow. Yes, do that. We promote that. But it's OneLife, so maybe open another tab and do the same thing for home.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary. Like, I think when you were speaking about it a couple months ago, and you did the exercise, and you take your bank statement and you sort it and you pivot and whatever, and you're like, do a pivot table, and you realize where your money's going.
Garage project, mate.
Yeah, I remember all the beers you were buying. But I found that I was Uber Eats. That's too much. Yeah. So now it's like, mate, you just got to stop being lazy. Get in the car, go pick it up. Save yourself the 10% markup on the travel costs, and all of a sudden you're $300 richer.
Yeah, every dollar counts, right? It really
100%.
does. Yeah.
I mean, that's why the conversation you have with business owners is so important. If you talk about their personal life and find out what's giving them pressures, like mortgage rates doubling, that's going to come back into the business, right? You're going to make more money. Then the hustle culture comes back. If you don't have the hustle, you get burnt out.
But this is a hustle culture, exactly. I'm just thinking about a client a couple of years ago. Incredible hustler, right? Really working hard. $9,000 a year on Uber Eats.
Mm.
9 grand a year. A year.
Oh,
That-
like,
that-
is,
in
that
his mind-
is that unreasonable?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. If
No.
you're hustling, right?
Yeah.
Like,
But in
is-
his mind, he probably just thinks I
She-
just need to, or
she-
she needs to make another 9 or 10 grand by hustling.
Correct.
And that'll pay for my Uber Eats, right?
Yeah, but like if you go, 7 ways to grow your business, and one of the ways to grow your business is to increase your revenue and reduce your expenses. If you do an increase of revenue by 2% and drop your expenses by
It's a
2%,
double whammy.
yeah, it's not 4%, it's more. Like the
Mm.
bottom line actually is so much bigger. And if you go, what is it? The value calculator we call it?
Yeah.
If you plug those numbers in, and like we just did a little quick 5-minute exercise, you'll be able to make pretty big change in
Yeah.
your business real quick. So you do that in the business and you do that in your personal life, and all of a sudden your business doesn't need to make that much money, and because you're saving some money on your personal. And
So do you think people are shitting themselves personally? And are you saying that maybe don't shit yourself? Maybe just go and do a quick cash flow plan
do
over
some
3
analysis.
years and some
Yeah.
analysis, not
Because
just 1 year, 3 years out.
100%, yeah. Because I
And
think
maybe it's
3
not that
years-
bad.
The outlook in 3 years is better, right? Like we're probably at the bottom of the market in terms of property. But I mean that's my best guess.
And,
Somewhere near it.
inflation as
Yeah.
well.
And then interest rates will come back down, like
Mhm.
from everything I'm listening to and reading
Mhm.
about is. So it's like whether you can weather the storm.
Mm.
And actually everyone's putting a lot of pressure on themselves to grow their business faster, putting a lot of pressure on their people and ruining their culture and their teams because of the requirement on their personal lifestyle. And I see that heaps at the moment. It's like, actually, if we just start the other way, right? So we do do your personal budget first. Okay, cool. I need $300,000 or $100,000 or $30,000 or whatever the number is as a family. Okay, cool. We start there. That's got to be the net profit after we pay tax for the business. Work it all the way back up to your revenue.
Yeah.
And so it's almost, I should call it a 10-way forecast, personal through to your business. It'll be amazing.
There's a
like,
product there, mate.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's kind of what how I think, right? Like
Yeah,
it's, okay, what do we need personally? Okay, cool. This is what we want. Okay, are we happy? Sweet. This is what we need to make in the business. And that's how much hustle I need to do.
So every business owner out there right now needs to go this weekend and do a 3-year forecast cash
Yeah.
flow plan for their family. Go and do it.
Yeah.
Do the go back 3 months first to see what's happening right now.
Yeah.
You know, and then you
Yeah.
can project forward.
Well, I think
Yeah.
my spreadsheet, I mean, no, just get in touch with us. I'll give you the spreadsheet. It literally does that. It links it straight back to the bank account.
Yeah.
And I've got all the different banks and all that. It's in red, yellow, and blue, different banks. And you'll figure it out. And you go, all right, this happens on the 20th, this happens on the 1st. And like $18,000 on insurances. Like,
There's a lot
so
of softwares
over
out there that do
insured,
it
it's not
now.
funny.
Like I use PocketSmith all the time. It's a pretty
Oh,
cool
yeah.
app. You pay
Yeah.
about $50 every quarter.
Mm.
But there's so many more coming out, and it uses AI or whatever to figure
Yeah,
out.
I've
what
got
you're
a client
paying
who's
for.
developing something at the moment.
Yeah,
which
really
is
cool.
really powerful.
Really cool softwares.
I mean, you can
There's
use
lots of stuff
AI
out
and
there.
tech and stuff if you want, but if you want to keep things simple, like I've been living and breathing my spreadsheet, believe it or not, almost every night for the last 4 weeks,
Yeah.
trying to decision make on a few things.
Mm.
And the spreadsheet is simple.
Mm. Yeah, it needs to be simple.
It needs to be simple, right? So that's kind of my point. You don't have to use technology.
No.
Keep it simple.
Mm.
Yeah.
I just changed a couple of things, like you say, and you're like, maybe if I did that, actually the pressure's
But I
off.
suppose with the technology though and the AI that's out there, they can get that data really quickly and they can summarize it really quickly as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think my last point on that is just please don't burn your teams out because your business is under pressure because of your personal balance sheet.
Mm.
You know, like that's what I was seeing heaps of. It's, like, oh, we can't find people and minimum wage and blah, blah. Like, let's just look at your personal stuff first, go back to the business and see if it can be that much
That's a
easier for you.
Very good point.
Cool. All right. So we're talking about cost of living, and you're saying that maybe some business owners should stop putting pressure on their teams or their just their business in general, and maybe
Yeah.
just look at home life a little bit and saying, what can I tweak at home?
Mm.
I could almost guarantee that most people right now are pulling back on some expenditure. I can almost guarantee it, because if you just look at Instagram right now.
Well, the Reserve Bank governor's asking for it, so I think it's now happening.
Yeah, well, I used to see every weekend on Instagram someone going to a flash restaurant on Instagram, on the stories, right? You're sliding. I'm not seeing that anymore.
Yeah, but
And if
that
they are-
comes at the expense of our customers who are hospitality clients, right? Like you deal a lot in hospitality and they're seeing the pinch of that, right? Like they're taking it away from small businesses. It's the same thing when it rains. Yeah, rain comes, no one goes to work. Oh, you're not. No, everyone's like, go home. But what it does to retail and hospitality, it just kills them.
They're all
Like-
nice to have. So
And then it's
Discretionary
like, then one
spending.
year they have to shut the store or you have no customers. And if you have no customers, the person in the business is also at, like losing motivation. Like, why do I want to stand here by myself with no customers?
Yeah.
It's just like quite a spiral effect.
So I think, so that's like consumer behavior. It's some business owner or corporate is making a decision and it's forcing the consumers out of the area, like town, say the bank says, the flooding's happening or whatever. They pull everybody out and say, go home. And they're panicking. And then your customers who are in hospitality or retail are affected.
Yeah, how are you seeing your customers? Are they affected by
Well, I
by
mean, throughout COVID, it was definitely a rough time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had mental issues and it was really just rough out there in the industry. But over time, it kind of just picks back up. But with the recent interest rates hike, cost of living, eggs going up, these small things.
Right, the cost of eggs are
crazy.
crazy.
It's just, and the media doesn't help, right? They keep spinning all these things online saying, because of eggs, cost of living going up, brain drain. We'll talk about that later. It doesn't help business confidence at all.
No.
And business confidence is key for everything, right? If you're feeling confident, you go and spend more money.
Yeah.
That's how the economy runs. And people are not feeling confident, they'll tend to pull back, reduce on their spending. The conversation you have are quite negative as well, which I don't like. I'm a very positive person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see some change though. Like it was a lot like that, and it's coming a lot more positive.
It's kind of just settled down a bit.
Yeah,
with the whole
it
problem.
feels like it's kind of coming. It's going to come right real soon.
Yeah, I think New Zealanders in general are listening to the people that tell them to hold back, don't spend.
Yeah.
I think that will still be over the next, probably winter. I
It'd be
reckon.
sensible.
So get through winter, and then there's like a light at the end of the tunnel. That's how I sort of feel the
Well,
economy
that's basically what the Reserve Bank's come out and said, right? Without saying it, is all right. We've lifted as far as we think it needs to go, and then all of a sudden, all you see is a down arrow somewhere on some mortgage rate or floating rate, and when all of a sudden everybody stops being negative, starts to have conversations around positivity, and going, it's because they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's a little more certainty about where cost of living is going to go. But I think we're still in for some pain in terms of cost of living and the lack of.
What's the most expensive thing? Like, what's the things that are costing people right now?
It's the mortgages, right?
Mortgages, nice
and
cars, all these things.
Yeah,
Traveling
so nice cars
overseas.
not really.
I think traveling is one big thing, right? All these young people, even myself, love to travel. Flight tickets are just insane right now.
Yeah, they are.
To go to Vietnam, it's like $3,000, $4,000.
So in terms of necessities, though, it's like your petrol, your food, your interest rate, your
I think
mortgage,
eggs
your rent.
made a difference, man. That was a bad call.
The eggs.
Yeah, we can go on about it. But
What happened with the eggs?
well, you need eggs and everything. Bread,
Well, for your muscles.
high protein diet.
I don't need eggs. So
I don't need eggs either.
Well, pasta. It's not you guys, but the suppliers like
Right.
breads.
Yeah.
People make breads, pasta, noodles, and even bakery, donuts, cakes.
Yeah.
All of these things needs eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, any sandwiches need
True.
an egg on your bread.
Right, so the cost is going up.
so
'cause
like
the eggs going up.
that sort of just changes the mentality.
Yeah, right.
When a tray of egg used to be what, $7?
There were
Nowadays
I went
it's-
to the supermarket yesterday. There were no eggs on the shelf.
Yeah,
I had a hot dog. It was $12.80.
yeah,
12 eggs.
yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, $1 each, and then your kids want to waste
And
it.
then I've got to take the yolk out for the kids. Boil the eggs.
Don't-
Take the yolk
don't
out. I'm
even
like,
go-
man, there's 50 cents gone.
Don't even go to avocados.
How much are they?
$9
What?
for an avocado.
Woo!
Man.
That's
a
why the
meal.
one I had today, my sushi was rock hard.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah, nah, just
Yeah,
stay away from that.
avocados.
Yeah.
Don't eat avocados and
Yeah, but I mean, eggs
Eat
is
eggs once
just
a week.
such a necessity. It's the cheapest form of protein ever, right? If you're a vegetarian, you can still eat eggs as well, people. But when the cheapest form of protein goes up in price, it's like triple.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sometimes quadruple.
Yeah.
So
It
what
just
other
freaks
supply
people
chain
out.
type pain are we seeing right now? What are you guys seeing?
I think freight, like in terms of like if you're in retail or you're manufacturing goods and you're trying to bring stuff in, like that's putting pressure on what you have to pay at the counter, like the freight costs, petrol, all that sort of.
Yeah.
I get a air freight instead of sea, because they
Yeah.
need stock, but you have to just pay and people have to pay the extra, unfortunately.
I mean, building supplies, I've heard that there is some easing now in building supplies, but that's always been a massive one just for people building houses and, and all of that. So hopefully that's easing, but that's always been a major supply issue problem.
I think there's just supply issues everywhere, eh? If we're honest.
Mm.
It's everywhere. Trying to get
Yeah.
anything done at the moment is just taking too long.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to my spreadsheet because I just lived in it. But I think we could be people can be sensible, right? Like think about your own situation and don't worry about this gas bagging going on in the media
Mm.
and go, yeah, like there's a problem. We can admit that, but like, what can you do about your situation?
Totally.
And let's have a chat and just figure out what your personal stuff is, what's going on. Because actually, you can make a few tweaks, and it actually might not be that bad. And also, like, you know, go hustle for another 5 or 10 grand.
Yes.
I literally had this conversation with someone the other day, and I'm like, cool, your job's going really well. Let's see if we can find you a hustle. 5 grand, that's all you're gonna make. 5 to 10 grand if you can.
Yeah.
What do you love doing?
Yeah.
And so it starts to, you know, get thinking, and you just pay off one credit card here or whatever it is that you decide to do.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it changes the whole
I
position.
like what you said there. Ignore the noise, because there is so much noise
so
out there,
much.
you know. So, and then focus on yourself and your family and what can work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
really
don't
do
let it
feel
get
for
you
the
down.
people who don't like to hustle. Not everyone was born a hustler. You know, some people just like to live a normal life.
Yeah.
9 to 5, nothing wrong with that. But I hated how these government changes or these price increases, cost of living, forces people are not like that to hustle. And that's when
Yeah.
unhappiness comes about and people will start quiet quitting and things like that. And it just spins and, you know,
Yeah, I'm going to say, like, everyone's hustling in a different way, you know? Like, I think
Mm.
but then when you're hustling and you don't want to have to hustle in the way that you're not used to, that's not very nice.
Yeah, imagine you're earning minimum wage and you never eat out. You never go and spend. You're just a homebody, save all your money. And all of a
Surviving
sudden, your
weekly.
groceries double in price, right?
Mm.
You're not going to earn any more than that. And you ask that person to hustle, they don't have time and energy or the characteristic or, you know, not that personality. What's that person going to do?
Totally.
Do they just leave, go to another country?
Mm.
Yeah.
This is what we were talking about last time. That things will just keep getting more expensive because there's no other solution but for that person to go get another job and get paid more or stay in that job and ask for a pay rise, right?
Yeah.
And if they do get that pay rise and maybe it's a cost to serve product and now that product's got to go up $3.
True.
So I was saying about I'm not paying $32 for a big breakfast and there was, after that session, there was a few comments that weekend were like, where are you eating for $32 big breakfast? And I was like, I didn't make it up. I was at a place and I saw $32
Yeah,
big
literally, I paid
breakfast.
$32 for a burger. Did you see that on my story? I ate the burger. No, we shared the burger in the end. Like, it was like, okay, nah. I wasn't even going to eat, but the kids were eating. I felt hungry, so I spent $32 on this burger. Unbelievable.
So what I want to know is, what are business owners doing for their teams to help them during these times?
Good bloody question. You mean what are business owners doing for their employees?
For their employees.
Yeah.
For their teams. To help
Probably not a lot other than
What are we doing?
what
Well,
those
okay,
kind
I
of
think
ups-
what everyone should do this, right? It's just the basics, right? And you said it before to me earlier. I think it is the basics. It's having a regular catch up, like a quarterly one at least. You know, it's really hard for an employee to talk about some stuff, so you kind of got to be vulnerable. We always going about, be vulnerable. Tell us your problems so we can help you, because that's what you want to be doing for your people. And if you can help them a little bit, then they're going to stay and be loyal to you, right? Like, and that's going to, in your business, going to help drive, I don't know, productivity or culture, and there's going to be this other wealth that's created from it.
I have a saying though, you have to look after number one before you can look after anyone else. You have to. So I think if any business owner is struggling with what they're supposed to do for their own people, look in the mirror first. Use Naren's spreadsheet or my spreadsheet, whoever's spreadsheet. Get your 3 years sorted for your business and personally.
I agree with that, because if you and your company are thriving, then your team will be thriving as well.
Yeah. Then the world's your oyster, right? But if you're coming from a place of, oh, it's all doom and gloom out there, mate. What do you guys want us to help you with? Nothing? Like, what do you mean doom and gloom?
But I like your point. You have to listen as a business owner. You have to listen to your team, and you have to have regular catch-ups. So you need to be asking about their well-being and how they're feeling and all of that sort of stuff. And hopefully they do open up and as you say, be vulnerable. But I think, that communication is key with small business and their teams.
Yeah,
it is a hard thing to do, right? Like, and I think one thing that we do quite well is, we live in that org chart, right? There's an organizational chart. It's 10 hats. Okay, what's everyone's doing? What are your roles, responsibilities? And always looking at where people are sit and how you can grow them in their job so they can continue to be successful and make money, right? Like, we never just yes, we look after number one, we look after the business and ourselves, but you got to look after your people and figure out how you can serve them. Because they're helping you at the end of the day. If you don't help them, you're screwed. Like they're going to do and like you talk about brain drain. We don't have a lot of resources
to choose from, right?
because they've also shut the doors. Like, so there's no immigration. That's what hospitality and retail stuff is. There's no one to work.
Yeah, totally.
Immigrants used to help with that, you know.
Yeah. I think we're lucky at BetterCo because we're the type of people that we are, and we are quite open and we do listen to our people. But I suppose there's a lot of business owners that don't have that skill set and they don't know how to do that with their teams as well. So they'll need to look for external help sometimes. Just to
Yeah.
I think one of the things where like communication, right? I would say the answer to your question is communication. That's the thing that they can do right now is to go to their teams, every single person, and have a 15-minute catch up. If you have 100 people, do a short 15-minute one. If you have 10 people, do an hour and a half, and go, hey, if we were to start this business tomorrow, what do you think we should do? What changes should we make? How do you think we could improve profitability so we can actually pay you more, pay other person more? Like, what would we do? And get some communication, collaboration going.
Yep.
And I can guarantee you the people who spend all the time servicing your customers and living and breathing the operations know exactly how to make more money.
They got great ideas.
They got all the ideas.
Yeah.
So we have to open those lines of communication.
Yes.
The business owner doesn't always have the best ideas.
That's 100%. No, we learned that.
They might just
Not
be the
dictators,
best
yeah.
leader. In
Yeah.
fact, they might not even be the best leader. Maybe the employee's going to go to them and be like, mate, you're actually really shit at your job.
Yeah, maybe go back on the tools.
Maybe go back on the tools.
Everyone's
Yeah.
just human, you know.
Yeah. Undercover boss. Start
Love
getting,
that show.
getting your hands dirty again.
Yeah, so I
Learn
think
some stuff.
yeah, so yeah, it's right. Communication is key.
Yeah.
It really is, you know, and yeah, and those business owners talking to their people, you're going to retain them because at least you're engaging with them, you know, and they're going to be giving you some, hopefully some positive
I
feedback.
just don't think people in general are as vulnerable as they could be, right? And I'm not sure you can change that overnight,
No.
which is why I'm pushing on this point of open the lines of communication, but say that it's collaboration. We're here to chat and collaborate and come up with ideas to improve top line, bottom line, reduce cost, and pay you more.
Do we have I suppose I'm thinking about creating a lot of work for myself right now. We should probably set a set of questions that, you know, you could have with your employees initially. Because it's hard to, like you said, it's hard to have that conversation. If you're saying we have these questions and we have the conversation often, maybe we could share that.
Yeah.
We will share that. Top 5 questions or something, ask those questions and see where you get to. And then the org chart can flow in from there.
Totally.
I think that's important, is to have that structure down pat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can almost guarantee you go and ask somebody in the team, you go, hey, if you could do more, would you want to do more? And the answer is there's only 2 answers, yes or no, right? So if it's a no, you move.
Not sure.
Maybe.
Well,
I don't know what I
don't
want.
accept that one. Just say there's only 2. And then you move to the next person and say, would you do this in a yes or no? And you might get some yeses, you might get some no's. And then all of a sudden your ideas will start coming up,
Yeah.
right? You'll start coming up with ideas as a group.
Yeah.
How about doing it together?
And that will just empower the team member, right? Because you're listening, you're taking their ideas, and then you're implementing them, you know, and that will empower them to be a better employee.
So
better
how
team
do you
member.
do that in different industries? Like,
But this is what I'm saying. I'm like talking in general terms, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not very specific advice, but it's just like,
well, like, I mean, you think of hospitality, right? Like, you often go to a restaurant, and one of the things that I find is my beer sitting empty for too long.
Oh,
Like,
that's no good, mate.
half beer,
drink
come ask
too
me,
fast.
come take my order for the next one, you know, or like close to the,
Yeah.
and you know, there's an
It's
extra,
it's a simple thing, right?
so $8, and you go to 10 tables, that's $80, and all of a sudden that's paid the person's wages for, you know, like it's that 1%er.
yeah, like
The
I've
same
just
thing
thought,
in the retail space.
why not just give someone a free little bowl of peanuts, extra salted, so they're thirsty, you know? Like someone's going to come to you with an
Strategy.
idea like that,
Yeah.
and the peanuts are going to cost peanuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I suppose that's hospitality, retail. You can sell an extra piece of clothing. Oh, that looks beautiful on you. I'm no salesperson, by the way. But what would you do in construction, like a builder? Actually, one of my clients did a great thing. He used to do renovations, and he used to take something that was already existing in the house, and you'd create something out of it and give it to the customer on exit. Amazing, like
Amazing.
a chopping board or something like that,
So
like
you
just
don't
so
lose
you
everything.
remember them, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then someone comes over and chopping a
That's
thing, and
yeah.
what's that? Oh, that's my builder. He did this renovation. He left the chopping board. He made it from.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant.
Oh,
wow.
totally.
Things
That's
like that,
amazing.
you know,
Yeah.
like
It's good. Oh, there'd be 1,000 different examples through
Yeah.
industries for sure.
Yes.
You know, you just have to have a brainstorm, ask your people, you
Mm.
know?
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Ask your people for the solutions, because business owners do not have all the ideas. They do not have all the solutions. Unfortunately, most of the time they are the decision maker. They just don't know that a problem exists or doesn't exist.
Yep.
I guess what we're saying is go and find out if there is a problem. And even if there isn't, how do you make it better? 1%.
And the team members and the employees won't answer straight away. They're going to go, they'll be sort of nervous.
You're asking
what's
me?
he asking?
Yeah.
You know,
Why are you asking me? Where are you going?
Yeah, totally. So I
different
think,
personalities.
yeah, but the more that you ask it and the more that you break down those barriers, the more answers that you'll get, right?
I'm excited. I want to have a brainstorming session.
We got
Well, the
social club
ideas
next
that-
Wednesday night, so maybe we have a brainstorming session.
No, for my customers too. Yeah,
Yeah,
our team.
totally.
Yeah,
Totally. Yeah.
So any
amazing.
I think managers in workplaces are also accountable for some of this. Like managers are in that middle ground. They actually know more and in a privileged position, right? The managers are probably the best people to have that brainstorming session with the team.
Mm.
Yeah, totally.
Make it fun.
Yeah, and it's scary talking to the boss, right? Some people you just get
Yeah.
intimidated, maybe,
True.
or
Yeah.
Sometimes a boss is the
relationship.
problem. Or
Yeah.
sometimes a manager's the problem, Get the problem person out of the room and then have the session.
Well, we're all human, right? So
Yeah.
it's like
Mm.
people are different. They have different personalities, different walks of life. I mean, I love that, in people and meeting new people and all
Same.
that. That's just my personality. But some people don't like that, So we've got to
Yeah.
understand there's different managers and there's different types of people and personalities.
So we're going to say solve the cost of living problem then.
No, we're not. We're just saying get
How we
people
use
who
it.
are actually making the money or delivering the product or delivering the service. Use those people because they got all the ideas.
Yeah, it's a tough problem. I feel
Mm.
for business owners, because we're trying to fight our own, fights in the business and personal lives, and all these things just get thrown on you. Cost of living's gone up. Solve it.
And the new ones,
Pay
the
your
tax
people
rate,
more.
eh?
Just pay your people more.
39%.
That's so easy, right? Just pay them more.
Mm.
Well, with what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Where's it
yeah.
So you got to
coming from?
re-strategize. You got to talk
Yeah.
to your accountant, talk to BetterCo,
Yeah.
figure out what your forecast is, do the groundwork. Shit, it doesn't work. Let's start again.
Mm.
And then your employees just putting their hand out, mate. You got to pay me more. I'm leaving.
But this is the thing.
So-
People talk about brain drain and they keep looking outside the business for the solutions. I'm saying look inside the business
Mm.
and go to those people that you may lose to the brain drain and say to them, hey, it's actually my goal to pay you guys all more
Mm.
because I want that,
Mm.
Yeah.
right? But I kind of want you guys to tell me how you want to be paid more
Yes.
and how we should do this
to
together.
be a part
Yeah.
of the journey.
Yeah.
And get on the bus, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be boring if you just got told, just telling people what to do all the time? I'd find
Mm.
that like boring.
Yeah, I suppose it's all very general advice, right? If you want specific advice and you need to, about your industry, then I think it's worth having a chat.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of ideas and lots
Yeah,
of
many
ways you
ways.
can get 1% better. And
Yeah, avoid the brain drain at all costs
Mm.
because it's going to happen. It's always happening. It's
what's
always
the,
happening.
What's the brain drain?
It's people leaving the country, like specialist people, right?
Yeah.
Who have skill
Okay.
sets,
Yeah.
right? Getting
And
out.
where are they going?
I don't know. Anywhere.
Australia, UK,
Europe.
Anywhere.
Yeah,
not
so it
here.
sounds like
I got a friend
Aussie
going
open the doors at the
on
moment.
12-month non-working holiday.
What would be interesting, I don't have the data, is whether they come back. Do you know how we
They
lose
always
a lot
say
of
they
people?
do.
Do they come back?
With the recent change with Australia giving citizenship,
Yeah.
it's going to be a worry.
Maybe not come
Because
back.
if someone gets citizenship there, they call it home.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
only reason why they come back is because their visa runs out, or
Yeah, totally.
I don't think you can avoid the brain drain because you can't control what Australia and the UK and all those countries do.
Mm.
But what you can control is where your people are spending their 40 hours a week or 20 hours part-time or 50,
Yep.
60 hours, whatever it is.
I don't know. I mean, you say brain drain, but we still got migration. Like, we're still positive, aren't we? There's still
Yeah,
more
we're
people
still
coming
positive.
in.
Yeah, we
Like,
are.
we're forecasting more people to live in Auckland and New Zealand. Like,
Yeah.
so what? We lose
I think
a few
what we're
people.
saying is we're massive advocates for ignoring the noise
Yes.
and just controlling what you control,
Yeah.
control within your own working space.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the place to look.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need to look too far.
Yeah. I think you also got to innovate, right? Like, people will leave and then you go, oh, how do I do that differently?
Mm.
Like, don't just put a screen there, please. Like, you can be better than that. But,
That's
like,
Or jump to replacing them straight away.
don't replace them straight away
Yeah.
as well. Like, potentially have a brainstorming session and be like, well,
Mm.
how do we make that more effective? Or do we not need that role? And
Mm.
or can we outsource it? Like,
Mm.
how do you do better in your business that keeps everybody else still paid well and happy and
Mm.
engaged, and you're still fed, and it's actually things are moving quickly, you know, with AI. And
Yeah,
that
but
sort of
some
stuff at the
roles
moment.
just come and replace, like a cafe. If 2 of the chefs leave,
Yeah.
what are you replacing with?
Yeah.
Oh,
You can't take away
that's-
McDonald's
Yeah, exactly.
and give it to your
That's kind of
customers.
specific.
So sometimes it just puts business at a very tough position.
Yes.
If 2 of the chefs went to Sydney and say, I'm going to work for a fancy restaurant, they're paying me double, there's nothing much you can do about
Not
it.
No,
much
you
you can do.
Yeah, then what do you got to do? You got to poach another chef from a pretty good
someone else.
restaurant and piss that person off.
Yeah.
And that person's
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It can be very vicious.
Yeah. As far as retention goes, there's many things that businesses can do, and I think we've discussed a few of them today.
Yep.
So do all of those things to try and retain your staff, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, first and foremost.
Yeah, and I think that's the nail on the head, right? Do everything you can do to keep your staff. There is no silver bullet.
No.
Just work together and
That's a good one.
it.
Do everything you can do to keep your staff.
Mm.
That's funny.
yeah,
Like,
it's not a solution to just
people-
get rid of people.
People don't work hard enough to retain their people, and then it costs you more to replace them. I mean, the training time alone is expensive, you know.
Totally.
Yeah, so I think the solution there is communication, collaboration, and do everything you can do. Then see what happens.
Yep.
Anything else?
Mate, good.
Good session.
Good session. That's a wrap.
Yeah, it's good.
Cool.